Welcome back to Nerdrotic. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from Nerdrotic.com. And it is time, finally, for the Nerdrotic Nooner. Good morning, evening, afternoon, good night to everybody out there in on planet Earth and other parts of the solar system. Who knows who's watching? Maybe even Bill Maher. I doubt it, Jeff Taylor. How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all having a great Monday. It's President's Day, so Nerdrotic Jr. is off, and he is out with Mum right now, going to museums, having a good time. And I'm here with you guys. So we're going to let some people roll in. There's some things I want to talk about today. Mainly, and this will be kind of in the second half, I'm going to go over the Umbrella Academy. I've watched 4.5 episodes, Doom Patrol, and Battle Angel. So yeah, I haven't made a bunch of, I was supposed to make a bunch of videos this weekend, and I decided to actually go watch some stuff so I can have material. And there's also some news that has come out. So look for a lot of videos throughout the week. I've cleared my schedule so I can get back to, I took a day off. I promised Mr. Nerdrotic I'd take a day off after we hit 40K. So I did that. We had a lot of fun, binged a little TV, watched a movie, hung out with the kid. It was great. It was great, but some things have happened in the last few days concerning Star Trek fandom, and it got me thinking. I looked into this a little bit, and it got me thinking about other YouTubers. I'm not going to speak anybody by name, and I'm going to stick with my rule. Like, I don't make videos on other YouTubers. I don't particularly make videos about people's tweets, although I don't mind other channels doing it, and I watch it, and it's great. I was very tempted to do a video on the John Campea tweet, which we're going to talk about, but there seems to be a fresh round of attacks on fandom of late, under the guise of, going against, trying to lump all of us under one banner, using the word hate a lot. And, it's hyperbole. It's stupid. It's shill trolling. Basically, that's what it's called. We had a little bit of it Friday, whatever. Like I said, I don't see it much here, and it doesn't really, I don't see it much on Twitter because I don't pay attention to that a lot. I'm only on Twitter for like an hour a day, maybe. And it's mostly to answer messages and just try to like people who, do the little likes for cool tweets and stuff, and do what I can. I don't have a ton of extra time because making videos takes time and live streams take time, and I love doing this stuff. We have some new wrenches. Mr. Twisted 72 has joined Mary Ashmead, Chris Persia. I made a bunch of new wrenches Friday. I can't remember them all. What's up, Annie Trekker? Yeah. So your boy apologized to you. That's good. That's good. Well, see, that's part of the problem. All right. So, and again, I'm not going to name anybody, but when I get lumped into a group, there are YouTubers I'm friendly with, but we are not in a conspiring group as much as people say we are. And of course, I'm just saying that. You got to take it at face value. But I talked to Doomcock. We exchange messages, especially before we live stream and stuff, but it's not like we're like, okay, man, you put a video out at, 1 hour before Star Trek Discovery airs, and I'll do one a half an hour. No, it's not like that. We're all doing our own thing. And we just happen to agree with each other on a lot of stuff, but we don't agree with each other on everything. So it's not some coordinated attack. What's been happening to us, though, is kind of a coordinated attack, which is fine. But I just want to let you know, I see you, and it's kind of what goes with the territory. But with the Star Trek Canon debate, I hear some out there saying it's not debatable, that Star Trek Discovery is definitely canon. I think after this episode, that's everything, you can debate anything and you can argue anything, because especially when we're talking about intellectual property, everything is, up in the air on that one. I think you can have a decent debate about Star Trek canon, whether Star Trek Discovery is or is not. But I think it's really hard to make that argument now with the comm badge. That's why it is my thumbnail. And yeah, I mean, if you just want to back the show blindly and say, I don't care about that, that's fine. That's cool. I mean, that's we have headcanon here, but after the comm badge incident on Star Trek Discovery, that was, I think the more time goes on, the more Midnight's Edge will be backed up on their video. It's still conjecture and rumor and all that stuff. And they say it in the video. It's not like they present anything as fact, but as they say in the video, there's a lot of places you can, if you choose, you can go out and find some of this stuff. Now some of it's debatable as far as the merchandising and stuff. And I don't care enough to go into like the models and all that stuff, because when it comes to merchandising, that's kind of the one thing I know a little bit about. I sold Star Trek stuff, Marvel stuff, Star Wars stuff, Doctor Who stuff for a long time. Did it, had a lot of fun doing it. The stuff that, the models, the Eagle Moss, it's very specialized. It's hobby shop stuff. It's got a finite number of customers. It's not a huge growing customer base, but it is a solid revenue stream that, you definitely don't want to turn down. And it's a worldwide thing, but it's not like, Star Trek t-shirts probably make them the most money, what officially licensed stuff like that. I doubt, just the little tchotchke stuff that makes them the most money. And the toys don't sell anymore. There used to be full action figure lines for Star Trek, and we're not even getting close to that. We have McFarlane doing a couple figures. We still have, God, I don't know if, Diamond Select was doing stuff. I don't know if they still are, to be honest with you. But when it comes to canon, with Star Trek, it does matter. And that's the thing, is like, you can play with canon in DC Comics, even in Star Wars, even in Marvel, and for the most part, the fans some will grumble, but they'll kind of move on with it if it's not too egregious. What's going on in Star Trek Discovery is they're trying to change the show into something it isn't. And there is a huge, huge clapback from the fan base. It's not small. And, again, the word toxic gets thrown around. And it's the reason that word is getting thrown around is to delegitimize anybody's argument, to just like put you into this group that you're just a hate group and your whole motivation is just hate. Don't get into my head, please. You have no idea what my motivation is. You don't know me. And with Star Trek, it's funny. Listen, bottom line, it's funny because they're trying to make it something it's not, and they're just burning it to the ground right now. The Star Trek fan base was not growing. It's not a growing fan base. So I understand why. I truly do understand why CBS wanted to take a new approach to it and say, hey, we need to change this a little bit to maybe appeal to a general audience. The thing is, it's not working. And I don't think Star Trek will ever be Star Wars. It never, ever will be. But it can still be as big as it once was if you get back to the spirit of Star Trek. And that is not all this flashy action stuff. Star Trek was built on a budget. It was a lot of people sitting around, sets and talking. And that's really what Star Trek is. And there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, I think they're overspending on Star Trek. They don't need to spend $10 million an episode on Star Trek and make it work. What the Orville probably does half that. I mean, oh God, maybe 3 million an episode, 4 million. The Expanse is not 10 million an episode. I've heard maybe 3. That seems a little high to me. Maybe 3 million an episode. And it forces your creators to actually work too. Listen, it was a crapshoot by CBS and it's not working. And you're just fighting the inevitable. That's why people who are, I think, I'm not going to get into the head of somebody who's behind Star Trek Discovery and likes it. I think a lot of it is, hey, it's just Star Trek and I want some Star Trek on the air. And I have been saying forever that Star Trek, just belongs on television. It's not really a movie thing. That's a good aside. But Star Trek belongs on TV. And yeah, they tried and it just didn't work. When you have, I've said this a million times on the channel, when you have a divided fan base, you have failed completely. Okay. Just satisfying half your fans, half your audience. And to what satisfaction? It's not one that's going to last. at all. It is merely, some people who are backing Doctor Who and Star Trek probably don't even like the show. They're just part of the argument. All right. And that same can be said for the other side as well. I can't say that for any of the people I know on YouTube. I know they are truly Star Trek fans. And I never question anybody's fandom. They might be new. I'm not going to say you're not a Star Trek fan. I might question your taste a little bit, but that's it. That's all. But when it comes to YouTubers who make videos about other YouTubers, just in the 3 cases that I've seen, 2 we'll say 4, and 2 kind of related to me and 2 not completely. The motivation by some, I will leave anti-Trekker's friend out of this, but the motivation by some, if you just look at subscriber counts, and it's usually the channel attacking the other channel is the stagnant channel. So just look at the motivation. I'm sure you all see it. You're all very smart people. And it's not really about Star Trek or fandom or toxicity or anything. It's about trying to insert oneself into a debate that they might have been on the other side of, and maybe some lashing out. So it's personal. It's completely personal. So again, I've had a video made about me by a YouTuber. I don't care, and I get lumped in to another crowd with, and listen, I can't expect everybody to listen to all my live streams or videos, and if they don't get it, they don't get it. Whatever. But I'm not going to bite ever. I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm not going to make retort videos. I'm never going to get involved in that. I hate saying never, but that's not going to happen. I would, I've worked too hard to let somebody in our space to do that. So what is up? Let's get to the chat. Hello, everybody. I'll give you some spoilers on. So my reviews later are going to be spoiler free, but I like all 3. I got to say, so far, I like all 3. All 3 things I'm going to talk about today. I had a good time. The only Nerdrotic Jr. didn't like Alita very much. He's turning into such a a puberty teenager now. He's like, the anime is better, Dad. I'm like, okay, all right, purist. What is up? At Mary Ashmead, Susan flopping has been. Flopping has been. Aren't officially licensed items canon? So asked James Kennedy. I don't know. There's no definite answer, but it could be this. Bad Robot simply invented the word prime canon to so you can distinguish one from the Kelvin timeline. But then why not just call it canon at that point? I don't know. But there's a lot of evidence. Well, I mean, just look at the pure aesthetic of the show. It looks exactly like the films, not just a little bit, exactly. So why is that then? Because the Paramount films were supposed to look different than the CBS stuff. So why would you make the CBS stuff look exactly like the Paramount stuff? Now, I don't know about the 25%, but if you look at the size of the Enterprise, it's 3 times bigger than the regular Enterprise. There's a lot of evidence. Now, does it really matter? It depends on the fan. It depends on the fan. But when you see Anti-Trekker's reaction, that's in my video and on his live stream to the comm badge, I don't think he was alone. That seemed to be the one thing people were talking about. So, I don't know. CG is too flashy in every episode of Star Trek Discovery. They really need to scale it back. They do. They need to turn the lights on. I mean, like, I can't think of anything they could do to recover from the show. They're just prolonging the inevitable, or maybe just stalling until Picard comes out. I don't know. Visuals will never overcome bad writing in a sitcom. One time in a movie, yes, but not in a sitcom. Our basements overfloweth. Kegger Rogers, yes, they do. With humping cousins. Oh, man. If you have too much money, you could try to hide bad writing behind it. Thundercat. So, yeah, you can. You definitely can. We got a super chat here. Firsties, says James Taylor. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Yes, you are firsties. But you're not thirsties. I don't know. I was trying to rhyme there. Hanafi did 50% like STD. Holy F. Yes. According to Rotten Tomatoes, it's pretty split. It's pretty split. And that, yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. With Doctor Who, I'd say it's I hear split fan base with Doctor Who, but I don't necessarily believe that. But with Star Trek, I would say it's pretty split. But Star Trek fans are loyal. They're one of the oldest fan bases, and they just want Star Trek. I understand why they want to like it. Speaking of bad writing, has anyone taken a look at the latest group of Doctor Who writers? Squire of Gothas, I haven't. Have they announced them? Oh man, I've already got enough Doctor Who material to fill out a week. I'm going to talk about the new Tumblr shipping of Doctor Who. And like honestly, shipping was, as all things, was all right at first. It was just once in a while, and like Tormund and Brienne, it was kind of funny to ship those two, but it's really turned into something that I think is kind of ruined entertainment, because they're writing for that, and it's not meant to be written for. I mean, you're just turning your stuff into fan fiction if you start like, okay, the kids really like shipping, who can we ship this season? And that is like, no, God, no, please, no. The Doctors should have ended on the 5 Doctors. Maybe. I like a lot of stuff after that. Sadako 24. I do. Where they come in and attack your Steam. What happened Friday night was interesting. Susan and I had a lot of thoughts about that. We had a little chat about it afterwards, and I think Susan was right. I'm not, whatever. That obviously that means we're making an impression, and shill trolling is real. I've actually looked into it quite a bit, and it's a real thing. I'm not necessarily saying that was it Friday night. I'm not necessarily saying those weren't real people. It was just interesting how once you would take one down, it would automatically pop up. Another one would pop up. It was pretty interesting. Actually, I might further expand on Susan's views. Star Trek Canon is part of what was great. It is the history of diversity and inclusivity that brought us all together and is still defending. You can't, and then Susan, it was response to Susan's chat that says you can recruit new fans, just do it within canon. Absolutely, and it's hard. The thing is, these people don't want to work that hard. Honestly, they rush Star Trek. If they would have just taken an extra year, let Brian Fuller, I mean, this is like the shit that, if they had let Brian Fuller stick around, we wouldn't be arguing right now. And people can back us all this one, but it's not just Star Trek. It's not just Star Wars. It's not just Doctor Who. It's a much bigger picture. It's pretty much, once these big corporations, now I'm going to sound like get off my lawn, but now that we're 10, 15 years into the era of the nerd. All right. That the nerd finally got their time in the sun, and that is the focus of Hollywood and everything. I kind of wish it hadn't. I mean, look at Marvel Comics after the MCU. I mean, the MCU is great. It's awesome. Was it worth burning down Marvel Comics? I'm going to say no. These movies were great, but comic books are built to last. It's a story told over many, many years. It's world building. That's what canon is. It's world building. It's a deep, rich universe that they're just like, meh. But that's what makes Star Trek special. So you're trying to change the single most uniquely interesting thing about Star Trek is its canon and its rich history. And no, it's not about it. Actually succeeded where Star Wars has really yet to do in film. Okay, I know in video games it's different, but they moved past Kirk and they had a Picard, and then they moved past Picard. They were able, I mean, they succeeded in that, and that is hard to do. You know, an argument can be made. I know there's prequel fans out there, and bless you. I look at the prequels differently after Disney, Star Wars for sure. They have their moments. I still don't like them, but they have their moments. The best lightsaber duel is in a prequel, in my opinion. But Star Wars has not been able to move past Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia in film. I know they have, and what Disney did was they threw away everything that could have helped them move past it with the EU. That was like their single most bizarrely lame move. But okay, but since these big companies have taken over, this is where the real splits in fandom have started. So if people want to come and come at me or other YouTubers, no, we're simply a reaction to what has happened, because people have nowhere else to go. The media is in their back pocket. Comment sections being closed down all the time. Critics, you cannot be believed anymore. You know, like people don't even believe the data on Rotten Tomatoes anymore, even though I've gone through and read a crap ton of reviews, and I find it really hard that a bot would write 5-paragraph impassioned pleas to return the show back to what it once was. And you know, that's what we had happen with Star Wars, with Doctor Who, and Star Trek. And it's because the powers that be thought that they needed changing, that this thing that had worked for decades, all of a sudden some 30-year-old creative all of a sudden knows better than everybody. And I admire your confidence. I do. That's probably how you got to where you are. But with that, you need to have a little humility in there, and understand and respect. And some do. Some come at projects with great respect. Dave Filoni is a great example. But when you just bring in new people because they made money, and that's, I mean, Kurtzman creatively, I don't know why anybody would touch that guy. What has he done? He's made money, but creatively, what the hell has he done? Let's get to a couple super chats here. 1999, Damix Might, thank you. STD could have taken place in the far future, free real estate to build new lore and add it. Instead, they wanted to stuff themselves 10 years before the original series and burn that was already built already. Nero and Rome all over again. Yes, well said, Daxum Might. Well said. And yes, that is a deliberate decision to go into prequel because they want to fix this canon. And if they can't, they'll just make their own. And I think that's what they're on their way doing. We have time travel being introduced into Star Trek Discovery. You don't think they're going to mess with the timeline a little bit? It's coming. Oh, it's coming. And, you know, and Robert Orsi put out that not Robert Orsi, I'm sorry. Van Sitters put out the pretty cryptic tweet that Midnight's Ed shared in 2 videos, basically saying, wouldn't it be cool? I'm paraphrasing. Wouldn't it be cool if all the timelines counted? That was a tweet he thought about. And I think that's just getting us set up for something. So yeah, thank you for the 1999 super chat. I truly appreciate it. Elliot Nelson, $10. Congrats on hitting 40K. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Can't wait to see you hit 100K. Whoa. Do you have any opinions on why YouTubers like yourself are doing so well, even though you're so toxic? You know, I don't know. I don't know. The real answer to that is I believe that the people who take the time to, you know, honestly, I haven't thought about it a ton. I just do what I do, and I try to connect with the audience. I try to read every chat. I'm also in other people's chats, and I think that's helped too. And genuinely, I don't go, I mean, it's harder now. I'm like really cautious when I'm in somebody else's chat to pop in, because I don't want to derail anything. And I love it when people say hi and I think it's great. But I'm a fan of YouTube. I'm just a fan of YouTube. So like Anti-Trekker and That Umbrella Guy and Odin and Geeks and Gamers and World Class Bullshitters and Doomcock and Midnight's Edge After Dark, when they live stream, I'm usually watching. I'm in the chat. I might not partake all the time, but I'm part of that, and we're part of that's where the quote unquote coordination comes from. It's the community, although I kind of hate that word because it's a word that's used to separate people, but I think it's actually just part of this family, we'll say, of common sense. I think Jeremy coined it common sense, and that's kind of what it is. It's not political at all. Actually, it's trying to keep that out of our entertainment so we can just have a little fun for a little while. And you know, apparently the powers that be don't want us to do that. They want us thinking about stuff and having conversations because they know better than us little plebes. Thank you, Elliot, for the kind words, and 100K. If it stops right now, I'm perfectly happy. I will keep saying that, and I mean it. But thank you so much to all the new subscribers. This has been so much fun, and yeah, toxic? No. If hearing the truth once in a while is and that's really why that word is thrown about, why the word hate is thrown about. Simply disagreeing and criticize is something is not hate. And that word is usually thrown out by somebody who doesn't want to debate. I'd be happy to debate, you know, a real debate. If they just want to throw out one-liners, and you know, I got no time for that. Nicholas Glenn, $4.99. Watch the director's cut of Star Trek, the Undiscovered Country, or 6. I'm sorry, the Undiscovered Country. I had forgot what a great movie that was. Excellent script, interesting story, thoughts. It is my second favorite Star Trek movie. I like it almost as much as Wrath of Khan. It is such a brilliant movie, and it would have been such a great way to. And in my head canon, that was a great way to send off the crew and and it really was the last official Star Trek original crew movie. So well done, Nicholas Meyer again, and Christopher Plummer. Wow, it was so good. It was so good. Thank you very much, Nicholas Glenn. Joel Tomburo for $5. If you're going to conspire with others like Doomcock, remember to rub your hands together and cackle gleefully. Like that. I will. Jorian Drake. 1,000 Hufflepuffs. What is that? What's a HUF? I'm sorry. I don't know what that is. I'm going to look that up real quick. What's an HUF? He says, STD isn't Trek because it's stolen concept story and story. Hope Picard fixes it. And it doesn't messes things up for more. Doctor Who is now sad. Greetings from Hungary. Oh, wow. That is cool. Thank you, Jorian Drake. I greatly appreciate it. That is very generous, and welcome, my friend. Yeah, Doctor Who being sad is a great description. Somebody else came in, gave a super chat a couple weeks ago and talked about being embarrassed to be a Doctor Who fan right now, and I think that's an accurate statement. I really do think it is, and like I've said before, it's not the politics themselves, it's how they're presented in that show. It is so pretentious. I mean, completely pretentious. And the act by Jodie, it's tough when you read the written word as opposed to hearing what people say. There's got to be some context and tone and everything. And after listening to David Tennant's interview, I understand why she got the job. Too bad that charm didn't cross over in the Doctor Who. That might have helped. I don't think so, but it might have helped. And she probably overshared a little bit in that. And yeah, and I'm getting slayed for pointing that out. But what was my first comment this morning? It was brilliant. It said, "I eat cock." Well, okay. No. Doc Who is now sad. It really is. Thank you, Jorian Drake. Lee Heron, £5. Discovery's approach to canon is shallow. Indeed, it is. They treat canon as weird cameos they bring up now and again, and in an attempt to try to appease Star Trek fan. Yes, it's always remember this tachyons. Blah. Come on. Thank you for the £5, Lee. And it's a weak attempt. Like you said, that is another great description of the show. Shallow, extremely shallow, Dixie Cup level shallow. There's no emotional depth to that show. There's no depth at all. It's the work. Kristen Bear, who wrote last episode, by all accounts is a great writer. So I don't want to criticize her writing. It maybe her script got, killed it. Maybe there's too many notes. I don't know. Maybe Kurtzman screwed it up. Just look at anything he has written. Just watch any episode he has written of television. It is so bad and shallow. That is the best way to put it. And every series reflects its creator. The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey for £2. These creators want the plaudits without effort. That's what he was just talking about, what Lee was just talking about. They want to be shared on Tumblr and Twitter. That's why they put these little bite-sized moments and they sprinkle it out throughout the episode. And if you watch it as a whole, it's a mess, but it has little, like, oh my, I didn't even bother to look, but I'm sure the whole Pinky Swear thing was like shared all over the place going, oh my God, Pinky Swear is so great. And that's probably the only 5 minutes that people watch the episode. Thundercats Ho for £2. Thanks for your honest view. Buy something pretty. I will. I'll buy a pretty cup of Pete's coffee after this. You can tell I downed one beforehand. Sorry I was late. A bunch of last minute stuff popped up, and also I was watching Umbrella Academy too. Tyler X2F01. The nice thing about the YouTube app on my phone is that I can pretty much watch this while pooping. Oh, thank you for the Canadian $5, eh? Wow. That's the kind of stuff I try not to think about, but I'm with you everywhere and with no judgment. I mean, everybody poops. I'm going to submit a script to BBC with used toilet paper. Well, they might take it. Now, somebody talked about new writers. I'm going to real quick take a look before I get to the chat and see if they have been announced yet. Because I can always use new material. It's not. Well, I can't find it quick, but if anybody wants to DM me that on Twitter, my DMs are open right now. So we can get to. Let me get to the chat, and then we'll get to the shipping thing. Oh, wow. I'm a little behind here. So let's, the dialogue is so cringy because it's how SJWs talk. Yeah, well, they twice in that episode, Darth Solo, somebody said, you don't get to do that. That is definitely that type of talk. When Burnham was walking down the hallway with Captain Emperor Giorgio, Burnham was, questioning why she wasn't telling Leland or where she was from or whatever. And then, Giorgio goes, you don't get to do that. You're the one who brought me in there. It's a victimization thing. You don't get to do that because you victimized me. You brought me over to this godforsaken place. And I admire her honesty with that. It is a godforsaken place. Keely Ann for $2 just ordered our first Big Finish Doctor Who. Nice. That is good stuff. Me poo, anti-trekker. What's up? You speak your mind and the truth from your perspective, and it clearly resonates, says Tom Wolfinger. Thanks. I do my best. Hey, Anthony G says, hi, Gary, great channel. STD keeps teasing us and not showing us. Spock would be, it would be as bad, in bad taste to start referring to the series as a Spock teaser. That's what it is. He's not going to come in till episode 7. It was meant to draw it out, and it's gimmicky. It's not even organically put into the story. There's nothing organic about this. Actually, there's plot points put in to it almost looks like it's created for job security. Like they forced a spin-off series. Okay. Even the critics of Star Trek, even the fans of Star Trek Discovery season 1 cannot say it was a huge success. Look at all the course corrections they've done. So why would you introduce a spin-off in something that's not really that successful unless maybe you were given a 5-year contract, had all the power, saw that power going away, and decided to assert yourself and, I don't know, keep some job security? I'll give you an example where that has been done before. Amy Pascal. Amy Pascal got caught up in the Sony hack by being, well, you know, she made some racist statements about our president at the time. So she was shown the door, but as she was leaving the building, she put herself in charge of Spider-Man, along with Avi Arad and stuff. She put her production company in charge of Spider-Man, securing her position at Sony and probably being a defunct CEO at this point. And maybe Sony had something to do with it. Maybe they didn't want her to leave, but they were forced to, and they found a way to keep her there. Maybe they were complicit in it. I don't know. I don't care. But that was an example of somebody using a creative property to keep their job. I think the same exact thing is going on here with Section 31 and just announcing everything. And it had a lot to do, and my insider insinuated this, with the animated series going to Nickelodeon. Because right now, which is owned by Viacom, which is a separate company from CBS. Now, why would you take something off CBS All Access when you were given full free reign to make whatever the hell you want, unless at CBS, unless you felt your power was going away? Van Sitters comes in as an assistant. I equated it to movie Scrooged when, God, I'm forgetting the names now. When Bill Murray's character has the guy who played Lex Luthor in Smallville come in and saying, "Oh, I'm just here to assist you. I'm your, I was a buddy at college from the boss." And yeah, he sees the writing on the wall that he might be out. He's not getting the job done. And plus, egos in Hollywood, they expect them, especially after you're given this 5-year contract. He probably thought he was king of the world, but 5-year contracts are meaningless in Hollywood. It's basically, what was your latest thing? Did it do well? I mean, look at the Dark World or the Dark Universe at Universal. They had a bunch of movies planned. Look at Amazing Spider-Man, which Kurtzman was also involved with. Amazing Spider-Man 2. They had a bunch of movies planned. They had announced them. Nothing happened. Anti-Trekker, $5. Thank you, Anti-Trekker. I am calling it here. Tilly will drop another F-bomb, and Hipster Spock will ask about the colorful metaphor. You know what? Duly noted, and I agree with that 100%. We'll have, within the first 5 minutes, we'll have, can Ethan Peck raise his eyebrow? Maybe that's why he has the bangs over, because he can't raise his eyebrow like the Spock way, I think that should be the first thing you have your actors do who try out for Spock. Oh, God, actors for Spock, plural. Thank you, Anti-Trekker. I truly appreciate it. Good man. And subscribe to Anti-Trekker. It's a great channel. I watch his live streams all the time. All right. Derek Raju for $5. Thanks for turning the wife and I onto The Expanse. We love it. Hey, great. It is a great show, and I can't wait for it to come back. Once Star Trek Discovery is over, we got, Game of Thrones. I don't know how good that's going to be. I mean, we might be making videos like this for Game of Thrones. We don't know. And then I believe it'll be The Expanse. I am enjoying a couple things. One thing on Netflix, I'm enjoying The Umbrella Academy, which I'll talk about in a bit. Thank you very much, Derek. Dave Moore, $1.99. STD is just an awful tease with no cure right now. Awful disease with no cure right now. Yeah, it's a disease within fandom because nostalgia, like I've said, is very powerful, and it's I just think back to the Phantom Menace when that came out. So many people thought it was great and slayed any critic who said anything bad about that movie back at the time. And that probably might have led to why critics are shills right now, because they took a lot of abuse back then. The internet was in its early days, but it was around, and a lot of people came around on that film. It took a couple of years, and then once the prequels were over, it took a couple of years, and then people resoundingly thought they kind of sucked. I mean, they're still fans of it. I find that most of the people who like the prequels today are younger, and that's fine. I kind of equate that to the Goonies. The Goonies has this huge following. When I saw the Goonies, I was a late teenager. I think it was 16, 17. It didn't speak to me at all. I didn't like the movie very much. But there was a group of kids who saw it and loved it. So, that's great. That's great. Tamarocks, $20. Thank you. I was up till 3 a.m. binging Umbrella Academy. Enjoyed it. But the bad father trope was very present in the series. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's going to have to go in my video. It's going to have to go in my video for sure. But thank you, Tamarocks. And they wear it down. So I'm only into the 5th episode, so I'm not sure how bad it gets. But thank you, Tamarocks. Amy Johnson for $2. People I know are giving Doctor Who a second chance. Cringe. They can. And I think that's what's going on here with Star Trek Discovery Season 2. But that'll run out. I don't think people are going to stick with this show until the end. Interest in Star Trek Discovery Season 1 waned. And then they took that big break. Are they taking a break this time? I don't know. I don't think so, but they took a big break between season 1, and a lot of people didn't come back. So yeah. And the way you could judge that is just how it was talked about on YouTube. You go to anybody who was reviewing episode by episode, and if you look at their view counts, and I mean large groups of YouTubers, they all went down. And they generally go, if you review every episode of a series, it comes and goes. But then there's an exception, like Westworld, the number goes up. Venture Brothers with Us, the number went up as time went on because it was good. Part of the reason I think I like Umbrella Academy is there's a person from Legion involved, which I did not know. Gawker's Death Rattle, Canadian $2. Goonies, you say? Go on, give us a truffle shuffle. Yeah. Goonies just was not, it was one of those early movies that had Spielberg, when he started producing movies and stuff, had his name attached. I know there's a bunch of people like it. It wasn't terrible. It just wasn't my, it wasn't made for, 16, 17-year-olds. It was made for kids. It was a kid's movie. Fake Gillette Spock. Yep. Amen. Yes. He does need a razor, but he needs, just don't use a Gillette one. That's all. Ha! Wolfman Creed. I like that movie. My big movie for me growing up was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Secret of the Ooze. I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I mean, I was on lots of drugs when I was watching those too. I got to give Goonies props for putting One-Eyed Willie into the lexicon. Your God is nowhere. Oh yeah. Section 31 does not follow Fight Club rules. John Hamster. Well, to be a super secret organization, I guess you could identify yourself to the Federation, sure, but why do you need to flip out a badge? Yeah. I don't know all of Section 31's rules, but I think having a super secret organization with a comm badge that you're wearing your shirt is just dumb. Dumb aesthetics. I'll give you an example of through Doctor Who, how merely explaining something doesn't make it, explaining some canon doesn't make it good. And that's what I was trying to warn in my last Star Trek video is they've come out and said, oh, we're going to make everything fit. Have you seen what they've done lately? They haven't made anything flip. They've just dealt with canon with one-off lines. They haven't even shown us anything. So it might turn out to be something later, like something in the hologram, like there might be some hack in the hologram. And that's probably what's going to happen. That's what I suspect is they ripped out the hologram in the Enterprise, and it's probably going to lead into there's being some hack that somebody used to get into the ship's computers through the hologram system, and they kind of Battlestar Galactica it, and they go back to older technology. That's just my thoughts on that. But it's not the greatest explanation yet. So let's use the Wedding to River song. The Wedding to River song, we first heard about it in Silence in the Library, and it was used to perfection to where we had this character who knew something the Doctor didn't, which is rare in Doctor Who, which was cool. It was done to perfection in that episode. So we had this, we knew that the Doctor was going to get married someday and give away a sonic screwdriver. And that should have been left untold, in my opinion. That was just a story that just the thought of it in my head sounded, when we heard the Doctor got married, we think that the Doctor maybe actually found somebody he fell in love with and wanted to settle down for a little while and had a marriage. And when they actually showed it in season 6, it ruined everything. It was just like this hastily done marriage. There was it was just, they had to do it. It wasn't out of love or anything. And it just kind of ruined the whole thing. So some stuff is just best left unexplained. And it's also a sign of laziness. Basically, they want to do a prequel because they don't want to come up with stuff on their own. It's just easier to fill in blanks. It's a cheat. I think that's what a lot is behind this. It's just a damn cheat because they don't want to go through the time to go through canon. And past writers have said it is restricted them. It is hard. Well, then don't take the job if it's hard. There's people out there who would take half the money they are and enjoy the hell out of what they're doing. And none of this is done out of passion. I know it's a business, but you want to try to get somebody involved who cares. You want to see a great example of that working. Kevin Feige. The reason Kevin Feige is a great leader for the MCU is because he's a comic book nerd. And he's that, he's something you'll never find again. He is a good, shrewd businessman, and he's also a comic book nerd who's read all the books. Ideally, that's what you want running your franchise. Not a guy who watched Star Trek at his friend's house. AKA Blonded says, I'm here late, but hi. That's okay. You're just on time. It's fine. $10. Thank you so much. Thomas Potts, Netflix canceled The Punisher. Hey, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Let's take a look. Not that I doubt you. I'm just going to pull up the article. And yeah. So I'm not even going to bother watching. Jessica Jones has been canceled too. So it is official. Jessica Jones and The Punisher are canceled. I was wondering if Netflix really wanted to do an FU to don't show Jessica Jones season 3 at all. That would be terrible and funny. Man, it's weird how this stuff plays out. So yes, Punisher is done. Thank you, Thomas Potts, for the breaking news. Thomas Potts, we appreciate it. $1.99. Kelly Ann, $10. Hated the introductions of Nardal, which led to Bill, which led to me saying I wasn't watching after Capaldi. That was before a woman was announced as the Doctor. You could clearly see Doctor Who crashing and burning then. That Keely, you're 100% right. they had a chance to reinvigorate the franchise and get even better numbers that they got now, and they sold it out for a gimmick, a political gimmick, and with nothing that none of this is going to last. It had a splash. It didn't even last throughout the season. So yeah, that's sad that they burned down a franchise for that. And it's going to take a while for it to recover. And I don't know if it does in a decade or 5 years, but, well, I got a video coming out. There's little signs popping up that this is that what a lot myself and a lot of other YouTubers have said is coming to fruition. And where you can look is forget the ratings. Remember all the articles I read that said, oh, it's not about the ratings anyway, it's about the merchandising. Well, yeah, we got one little sign. Somebody shared it with me on Twitter of the merchandising not doing well. Now, a buddy of mine at a comic shop who will remain nameless says the stuff doesn't move at all. He took a giant, what do you say? Took a giant bath on the Doctor Who stuff. The last time I checked at Hot Topic, I went and popped in there a couple weeks ago. Stuff is still on clearance. It's untouched. And then a company who made cosplay coats. What they do is they put up they put up the coat, and they have to have enough pre-orders for it to actually go into production, and they didn't get enough, so it got exterminated, for lack of a better term, and it was a replica. And the funny thing was, they did a male and female replica of the Doctor's coat, and the male one didn't sell either. Go figure. Yeah, kind of weird. So that's the first sign. The other sign is just there's no toys for it, and Big Chief is doing a 1/6 scale Jodie figure. I would love to get the numbers on that, because they require pre-orders too for to go into production, and if they don't get enough, it delays production. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. To actually get news on it, I would have to pre-order one, which I'm not going to do. I can't do. But yeah, Nardal was, yeah, he was annoying. Jellyfish Sandwich, $5. A Battlestar Galactica tech regression explanation of STD holograms would be completely at odds with Trek's optimistic view of tech and the future. It certainly would, but STD is completely at odds with Tech's view of the future. It is. It's at odds with everything Star Trek. You know, Anti-Trekker, if you're still out there, you said you were done. Are you truly done with Star Trek Discovery? Is it just kind of going through the motions? I mean, I'm done with it. Thank you, Jellyfish Sandwich. That doesn't sound very good. A jellyfish sandwich. I don't know why. It sounds probably stingy. Jason Green, $5. It's like I told Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. Once all this nonsense from wokeness finally goes away, all the IPs will be made the correct way by fans. It will. I kind of have to elaborate with a more pessimistic view, unfortunately, on that one. You're right, Jason. You're 100% right. But the fans will be picking up the ashes of these IPs, these broken pieces of the IPs. Yeah, kind of like the Bowel ship in that short trick. We'll be getting the broken pieces of Star Wars, and it will be back into obscurity. And maybe that would be a good thing, to be honest with you. Maybe if it's for Doctor Who, if we just get some comic books and some Big Finish audios for a little while, maybe that's good, to be honest with you, because no, I am not the kind of fan that's just going to love everything unconditionally that's thrown at me and buy it. If it's bad, I'm not going to buy it. And then on top of that, if they try to hijack it and put in political propaganda, and I'd be just as pissed if they put religious propaganda or anything in a show, expecting it to be something it's not. And, you know, Chibnall coming out and saying politics are fundamental to Doctor Who. Since when? And in what context is he talking about? Since when did somebody go, you know, God, I'm going to watch this episode of Doctor Who because I really love the political message. You can love the message, but and then coming in with broad terms saying the Doctor who is or the Doctor is anti-gun, which is, the Doctor's always been not really down with guns, or the Doctor's against genocide. How's that for an example? That's a political position? No, I think that's kind of everybody's against genocide. That's not political. So if you're looking for that kind of a broad stroke message in it, yes, there's political message, but politics are not the fundamental reason why people watch the show. Period. They watched because they loved the Doctor. It was fun. It was funny. Paper mache aliens. Christ. Plungers on aliens. I mean, we love it. But you're right, Jason. Silhouetted Animator, $2. Yet no word of the Gifted season 3 or cancellation. The Gifted, I could care less about. It got so god awful. I mean, if it comes back, I don't think the ratings were that great, so I have a feeling it's done. Oh, I saw the trailer for Dark Phoenix again. You guys have seen the trailer. Like, there's no like big effect shot. It looks like it's all shot in like a dilapidated town, and yeah, it looks like it had no budget. And I'm sorry, Sophie Turner. It just doesn't do it for me. What is this? Masquerade. The gooseneck monitors fix the hollow hack in the cage. There you go. The gooseneck monitors. That's right. The gooseneck monitors. That fixed the hollow hack. Yeah, maybe it did. Maybe that's what they're going to do. Lee Heron, 5 pounds. Instead of the anticipation, I should feel that the Spock. Instead of the anticipation, I should feel for the Spock reveal. All I feel is dread, both for his character and the awkward, dull scenes with Burnham. Right? I mean, we already got a shot of one. You accept all the burden all the time, and then we see him, action Spock breaking out. Assaulting the doctors. Thank you for the super chats. And let's get back to the oh wait, Jolton Burrow. STD could not do an episode like the Orville last week because the characters are so thin and poorly developed. The episode worked because the Orville characters are developed. Indeed. And you watch them, I watch them back to back, and it doesn't feel like the Orville is doing a parody on an older show. It still feels like a new show, proving it can be done. But again, that's the people who are in charge of Star Trek and in charge of Doctor Who and Star Wars right now don't think the old model can work anymore. Fundamentally, that's the fundamental reason they changed Doctor Who, is they don't think the old model that worked for decades works anymore, and it doesn't appeal to anybody anymore. But I will ask you this: how many kids are watching Star Trek? There's a lot of stuff being thrown around about CBS All Access, a lot of numbers that are, whether they're true or not, I don't know. I've heard the base subscriber, which is people who are actually subscribed and paying money, is 2.55 million. CBS reported on the 14th that they have 8 million subscribers 2 months ahead, but that was after the Super Bowl. That was after the AFC Championship, but that was after a free week trial. Are those subscribers that are going to stick? Well, we'll find out probably next quarter if they reveal that. But here's the problem with that. It's not going to, what it needs to grow to is 140 million subscribers, because that's their that's what you're going for, is you're trying to be like Netflix. You're a long way from that. You're a long way from that. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought now. I saw something cross my screen and I completely lost my train of thought. I hate it when that happens. I'll get back to that. I'll catch it again. It'll get back in my head. Goonies, you say? Go. Oh, I already read that one. So thank you, Jolton Burrow. I am caught up, and we are going to get to the chat now. And maybe I didn't have enough coffee today. All right, let's get to hang on. Let's get okay. I'm catching up. Here we go. How long till STD gets desperate enough to bring on the Borg as a way to get more eyeballs? And how will STD writers destroy the Borg? Stephen Klein, I think prior to that, I think if there is a Star Trek Discovery season 3, you guys can put money on it. Kirk will be involved. They will bring in Kirk. You can count on it. I think they'll do that before the Borg. I think the Borg is, they might do them both. Kirk and the Borg. Joel Timborough, Nerdrotic, tell Chimble to go watch the classic Who's The Sunmakers. It's rife with both sides of the aisle very effectively. And that's a great example of what I've said all along is my politics haven't changed. The politics have changed around me, and I've kind of stolen that line from Fred Johnson within the Expanse books. And that's exactly what's going on. I've never had a problem with Doctor before. It was annoying me. Seasons 9, 10 particular was getting more and more annoying. And, season 11 dialed it up. Do you think a younger, thank you, Joel Timborough, Cameron St. Bernard, do you think a younger or older master is better for the Doctor? Younger. Well, I mean, younger in the sense of, no, I think the master should be between 40 and 50. So I guess that's older. Oh, and that was the point. Thank you. That reminds me of the point I was making with CBS All Access. So CBS All Access and Star Trek. Star Trek is aging out. So the average age of the CBS All Access viewer is 43 years old. The key demographic is 18 to 44. So they are almost out of the key demographic for average age of viewers. That means a very large amount of their viewers are not 80, are in their 50s and 60s, watching The Good Fight, watching Big Brother, watching MASH reruns. If they were truly at the number of 8 million, that wouldn't be the average age. So we'll see. We'll see. Your average age of viewer, 43, is horrendously bad. Gifted is just okay. Needs better ties to the X-Men universe. Prepper James, it does, but it's not going to get it now. That's the problem. It looked like it was going that way. That's even kind of a disappointment with me with the Legion. I love Harry Lloyd. They're bringing Harry Lloyd in as Professor X, but I would have loved to have seen a Patrick Stewart cameo, and he'd even expressed interest in doing it. STD season 3, the role of Lieutenant Kirk is cast as a female. Oh man. Andrew Titchner, what's up? $10 monthly super chat. Spock is nobody right now, and yet they are acting like he is already an ambassador with a 100-year career under his belt. Barely anyone in Starfleet would even know who he is. Exactly. It's pre-legendary status. But the whole point of this is to show that Burnham was the most important thing and the most pivotal thing in his life. I could definitely see Star Trek Discovery ending and they have a young Kirk and Spock at the going to give a lecture at the Academy, and they walk by a Michael Burnham statue, and they have the Burnham Institute at the Academy, and they're teaching Burnham, kind of like Faulkner in Altered Carbon. Yeah, they're teaching, and Kirk is going to give a speech based on teaching Burnham philosophy, which is just, I show up and fix shit. I think the perfect Dallas retcon for Doctor Who will be that the fifth Doctor never really left. Oh God. Sorry, I'm choking here. Castrolava, and everything he experienced after it was an illusion. You could do that a lot with Doctor Who. But I don't know. Would you? Yeah, I would be okay. Well, can we skip? How about we just skip to the Ninth Doctor? I don't know. There's moments of the Sixth and Seventh Doctor I like. I'll rewatch that before I watch season 11. In Doctor Who Series 5, finale, Big Bang, I believe when the Doctor used the Pandorica to reboot the universe, he apparently produced an SJW universe by mistake. Andrea Susie, pity, yes. It did start changing after that. It did. I remember reading an article. I got to dig it up. Reading an article of somebody just saying, watch out, the new regime at the BBC, stuff's going to change and it's going to be for the worse. And it was an editorial. And I read it back in 2012. Halam, it is not your first time watching. It is today. Gifted has been dead for months. When they shortened the episode order, it was already canceled. Don't mind me. Yeah. Mostly they don't announce shows being canceled. They just announce they were not renewed. So it's kind of the Office Space method. He's not fired. We just fixed the glitch. We stopped paying them. At least Sunmakers was entertaining. I could make an argument. Listen, even for some 6th and 7th Doctor episodes that they were entertaining. I've watched a ton of that shit. And I'm going to continue watching it. A Doctor Who episode a day. I watched Rose today. That's the one I chose. I watched Rose and then I started watching the Umbrella Academy again. Spock is only important because we know what he is to become. At this rate, by the time we get to the TOS era, it will be Captain Rand of the Enterprise flirting with her perky yeoman Kirk. STD ruined my watching experience of the original series, says Stephen Klein. And that's what they're in danger of. This can do that. It's the Matrix argument. I know there's fans of the Matrix 2 and 3, but honestly, if those two other movies didn't exist, the Matrix will be looked at as a cinematic classic. But yeah, going in and doing the prequel thing, I mean, honestly, the prequels ruined Darth Vader for me a little bit, ruined his mystique. I don't ever want to see my big bad as a little kid. I think we can all go. I'll tell you what the fans had in their head. I can't remember ever having a conversation with a kid going, or when we were kids, about, I really want to see Darth Vader as a 6-year-old. Nobody ever thought that. We thought if someday we saw those stories, it would start out with him as maybe late adolescence, and it would just be the story leading up, to the battle between him and Obi-Wan over lava. That's all we knew, was there was an accident, there was lava involved, and he was burned up. And believe me, the story that millions of kids had in their head was much better than what Lucas did. That's why you don't want to go back and do this stuff. You can't compete with that. I don't want to see Spock. I am sure it was you, Gary, that said it before. What Doctor Who always had was morality and not politics. Yes, Aiden Vickery, that's what he's always had. And we'll see, and that's where it's getting blurred, is certain people basically love the smell of their own fart so much that they think they are morality. It is turning into a religion with these people. They are replacing it. Most of them atheists are, which there's nothing wrong with being an atheist. All right. No judgment there. I'm just saying that sometimes, we're it's built in our DNA, religion, all that stuff that's built into us. So if you're not religious, you find something else. So with some, it's politics, it's political dogma, and it's the new Puritanism. I've said that before too. And so have many others. And that's what's going in. I mean, Christ, we don't see sex. I could not believe I saw sex in Doom Patrol. I'm like, I just saw a boob on DC Universe, and it was funny and it was well done. Let me finish up the chat here, and then I will get to my reviews. But fuck yeah, all I see is there's no logic in this SJW crap show, and that's what. Listen, DeHobbs 9. If you've been watching this channel a long time, and I don't judge people for saying this either, it is okay to say that because I think it's applicable. And when I say SJW, I don't mean. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Hang on, I had it in my eye forever. Hold your thought there. Okay, when I say SJW, I don't necessarily mean somebody on the left. It is a group of people who are. It's like fortune cookie politics. All right. It's politics that you can spit on Twitter with no real thought to common sense or middle ground or anything. If you are against the SJW politics, you are a heretic. It's a fundamental religion. It's like a cult with some, not all. And it's not, and I'm not talking about, and it's not something I throw out very much. You don't hear me, unless I'm reading in the chat, say MPC or SJW that much. Because I try to keep it to the story, but it has gotten so bad to Hobbs 9 that I'm like, I could never argue against it at this point. I don't know how people still can. It is when you hear Admiral Dumbass in the last Star Trek episode say that manlier than thou bullshit on its own in a vacuum, no problem. It's fine. Don't mind hearing that. As long as you spread the love, then I want to hear a character going, she's just being a girl, it's just something you can't even say something as light as that. They would freak the hell out, but it's okay to say the other thing. And you're limiting yourself creatively. And it's obvious that it's a open attack on men because of Time's Up and Me Too, because of how a few men acted in Hollywood, or maybe a lot, producers and stuff. It was a known thing. But what you're doing is you're ruining the entertainment by generalizing men, offending people you probably have no intention of offending, or you don't care, or you just simply don't care, in a franchise that had, men had a lot to do with it being successful. Kathleen Kennedy not feeling she owes anything to men. She can think that, but the person who runs a franchise that was largely built by men and boys to come out and say that is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And people who have been on her side say, I've heard Grace Randolph criticize her for that, and rightly so. Again, it's something she could completely think, but you know what? You go out there, you represent Star Wars, you need to be presidential. And I mean, on every level, you need to be just keep it to the show. We have Pablo Hidalgo. Nobody should know who this guy is other than he's part of the story group. What is he known for now? Being an asshat on Twitter. John Campea. And I've talked about this before. He threw a tweet at, I'm pretty sure that was slung towards Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. On the night we did the live stream talking about Rian Johnson possibly not getting the trilogy. I still fully believe that Disney was running that. I think they leaked it to run it up the flagpole to see what kind of a response. And I think they saw the response they want. So look for Rian Johnson not to have a trilogy pretty soon. Or, he gets ghosted. That's what I think. But John Campea came out of twit. I'm paraphrasing Twitter. He's a twit. He came out with a tweet that said, anybody criticizing Star Wars is toxic and we're cousin humpers and basement dwellers. Then he deleted it and then did a video, which I didn't watch and I don't care. And you've already heard what I think about, like, another nerd calling other nerds basement dwellers. Kind of makes him look like a poser to me. I don't think I would never throw that at him. I've never seen other YouTubers throw that kind of an insult out. We usually, Doomcock doesn't talk about other YouTubers. Midnight's Edge don't. I don't make videos about other YouTubers who like Star Trek Discovery. But you certainly see the other side do that with Doctor Who and Star Trek Discovery. Why? Well, honestly, the motivation subscribers, like I told you before. But it's also because they're not connecting with their audience. But it was 40 cents for are you claiming that imagine having to bash people because you're incompetent? Yes, Natasha Coulter. Kimi, any chance that the old Viacom can rescue Trek from CBS in the future? DeHobbs 9, yes. I think there is. I think say Star Trek Discovery was canceled now. They took the creative team partially that they have with Picard. I wouldn't be against them like keeping Shaban on board and then bringing in somebody new and going ahead with the Picard series. I don't think there's any way that doesn't get made, in my opinion. I just, it's too big of a thing. How it turns out, I don't know. I think Patrick Stewart worked with the ensemble of the crew. I don't know if I'm necessarily interested in watching an entire series of just him working out the stuff of his life and basically them doing the Logan version of Picard. And I think somebody had said that Sonequa Martin Green had leaked the title and it's called Picard, which leads me to believe that they're going to do like a Logan with Picard, and Patrick Stewart was in Logan, and it just gets weirder all the time. And yeah, we'll see how that turns out, but I don't think there's any way that doesn't get made. I'm open to watching anything, but the stories are crap. Who would want to view this garbage? Not me. Exactly. And that's part of the reason you have a streaming network, is it's available there to watch over and over again. And that way the people don't have to watch the physical media. And Star Trek Discovery is so disposable in its storytelling that even a fan of it, who would go back and rewatch? It's like, I can't wait to see that pinky swear scene again. Aw, dang. Everything in Hollywood and media in general has become like walking on a minefield. You can't say or do anything anymore that people used to do all the time, and it's considered offensive. MS Ty, sorry, fan. You're right. And I think that's what has a lot to do with why the writing sucks so bad. I think they're writing in fear. I think they're so worried that they're offending. So they're making things more diverse, which is fine. Great. Awesome. But they can't write any character with complexity because they're afraid they're going to be offensive. So you just get this bland crap. And that's what, but Star Trek Discovery is beyond bland. It's just bad. When is the counterpart review? I did it yesterday, Michael Madsen. No counterpart review on this one. I did it yet. It's on if one of my wrenches can share the link on my website, it's on my website. You can check it out. Rebecca Gold, the reason why your channel has grown is because of us fans. You got it. Who were puzzled about the good reviews on Doctor Who, found the truth and how fans felt when you and Bowles Trek. Yep. And big shout out to Bowles Trek. Great channel. He has been experiencing some BS ever since he did a Captain Marvel video. And I got to say, I've been experiencing the same. His growth has been amazing and a good dude. And we will be doing something together very soon. So look for that. Yes, Bowles Trek speaketh the truth. Love that dude. All right. So give me just a second here. And you guys talk amongst yourselves. So, what did I see one guy in there saying? So I'm saying I'm not toxic. Yeah, I'm saying I'm not toxic. Simply criticizing a show is not toxicity. Okay. It's criticizing. If you can't handle it, I mean, that's a personal thing, honestly. Believe me, I get criticized all the time, and it's coming from your side that says, honestly, when somebody attacks me and says you eat cock, well, I could turn it around and say, well, that's kind of a homophobic statement to defend Star Trek. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, dude. So yeah, all I get is one line attack. So it makes me feel, it just, listen, I'm going to dial it up. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to dial it up to criticism. Toxicity would be personal attacks, like attacking Kurtzman on his look, attacking Sonequa Martin Green on like her hair or something like that. That's not anything we do here. No, we're just criticizing a TV show. If you don't like it, bye. All right. The Doom Patrol. Let's start out with the Doom Patrol, shall we? Trying to find a good image. So these are spoiler free, and these will be quick. We did not here. Let's take a look at the Doom Patrol real quick so you don't have to look at me. But I quite liked it. Okay, now I am a fan of the comic. I'm a big fan of the comic. I've always and X-Men fans, forgive me. Wolverine I named my son Logan. My son's name is Logan Tiberius. So he's named after Wolverine and Captain Kirk. But I like the Doom Patrol more than I like the X-Men and always have. Because if it's just true bizarreness, and it's been bizarre from the start. And really, they've had a good run. The Morrison run is great. My favorite, I can't remember the issue numbers, but the Doom Patrol appeared in a Jeff Johns run of Teen Titans in the mid-aughts, and it was so good. It was so good. So Jeff Johns really, man, I wish he would. I know he's all big time now. If he took a shot at the Doom Patrol for like a good long run, take my money. The show was excellent. It felt like a pilot, so it rushed some stuff. I am not sold on Crazy Jane. I think I was really, really loving it, and I was saying 10 out of 10 episode until she showed up. I need to see more of her. I'm not going to say she's horrible. They showed some of the origins. We got Alan Tudyk, or Tudyk, Alan Tudyk, Timothy Dalton, and Brendan Fraser voicing Robot Man. It is so well done and so different from Titans. Completely different from Titans. Like, they took a really solid approach. It is definitely a PG-13 rated R show. So I was actually going to tell my kid to watch the show until I saw there's one scene where, there's a sex scene in it. I guess that's kind of spoilers. Sorry. But they lay out the origins. There's no cyborg in the first issue. And first episode. And I'm just talking about the first episode. We get Mr. Nobody. We get an introduction to Mr. Nobody. We get an introduction and the origin of Mr. Robot. There we go. And we get to meet Crazy Jane, of course. I was trying to find image of, like, there they are. There's a newer image of them. So I have a huge problem with I know they're trying to hide the cyborg costume. That doesn't work for me. And I love how Mr. Robot looks, and Negative Man and Crazy Jane. Like I said, doesn't do it for me. But God, it was good. It was really good. Really, it was paced well. They went on a little adventure. Timothy Dalton was really a good for the Professor. He the good casting switch from the guy who did it in Teen Titans, and I'm forgetting the actor's name. But he was much better. I love Timothy Dalton. Never liked him as Bond, but I like him in everything else. Love him as Rassilon. Come on. So it was really, really well done. Now, is it good enough to be behind a paywall to pay for? And that's the thing I have a question on. Because in my humble opinion, to be behind a paywall, the quality has to be top notch. It's better than any CW show I've seen. It's better so far in just one episode than any of the Titans episodes. It's the best thing original on no, Young Justice is the best original thing on the DC universe, but this is close. So far, it's good. I have not seen anything other than the first episode because that's all that's aired. So well done on that one. I'm going to give a recommendation. Yeah, if you can get a free trial, check it out, but you might want to wait till you get a few episodes. I will be reviewing it on the Nooner for sure, and I'll probably be doing separate reviews on Patreon. But I definitely liked the Doom Patrol. All right, next one. Alita Battle Angel. Alita Battle Angel. I saw that yesterday. I saw it in the Dolby Digital 3D, super comfortable chairs with the family. $60 to take 3 people to the theaters. That's not counting parking and goodies and stuff. So it was like, yeah, it was a C note to go out. It's very expensive. I would have to say I liked it. I thought it was good. What really, I got to get the actress's name. Give me just a second here. Alita. What sold it to me is performance. And, the CG for Alita wasn't as bad as that first trailer. The first trailer, I don't know, there was something wrong with it. It's still noticeable. There's still the Rosa Salazar. Okay, Rosa Salazar, her performance as Alita is what sold me on this whole movie. She was great. She was her performance kind of shone through, kind of like Xerxes with Golem. It's not like the CG for Golem is great. At the time it was masterful, but it's the performance that shows through. So if you're going to be doing these CG things, it is really important to get a great actor. That's why Doug Jones is really one of the best actors in Hollywood because he can act through costumes, CG, so many things. And you feel, and you could tell it's, I think a lot more has to be put into, if we're going to do these crazy CGI movies, think about the performances over really how good your CG is, because you're still going to have that uncanny valley. It's still going to happen. I know James Cameron, people are saying he ghost directed this. No, Robert Rodriguez directed this movie, and it had like little Spy Kids moments in it. But it also had like some Sin City moments in it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done, well paced. The third act, a little weak. There was a repeating theme that I won't put in that was repeated too much. It left it open for a sequel. I don't know if this film is going to be remembered that long. I remembered it as a good film. Would I recommend paying top dollar to go see it? I never do that, not unless it's like Infinity War. I'm going to say go to a matinee, but try to see it in the 3D. 3D was pretty good, and I hate 3D. I usually don't see the way my eyes are. It stops looking 3D to me within the first couple minutes. My eyes get used to it and it just flattens out and my vision sucks. It's like really bad. So 3D doesn't do much for me. But by all accounts, it was great. Jennifer Connelly does not age at all. Ed Skrein, all I could think about was Ed Skrein used to be Dario Naharis in Game of Thrones, and he was such a better one than the guy they replaced it with. Yeah. Christoph Waltz was great. I know nothing about the source material at all, so I don't know how accurate or inaccurate it was. But Rosa Salazar was my takeaway, that she did such a great, she was so charming in the role, and it was just really well done. So yeah, it was a good movie. I liked it. Definitely go see it for a matinee. Yeah, I don't know about paying $60 for 3 people. That's a bit much, but it was definitely good. It was definitely good. All right. The one I liked the most out of all 3 of these, and I didn't after the first episode, Umbrella Academy. I got to say, I'm very engaged in the Umbrella Academy. I am only halfway through the 5th episode. It's got 2 major thumbs up for me. This is the kind of stuff I like. They have, believe it or not, okay, they have grounded it from the comic book. The comic book is bonkers. All right. And the show is still pretty bonkers. They've added a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna probably do a separate review for the Umbrella Academy that's full of spoilers, probably in a day or 2. I'm feeling that good about it, unless it just goes off the chain, and it might. There are man, they're stretching some stuff. They are definitely stretching some stuff that's like a Netflix thing, and I want to hear what you guys think about this. Is this something you're noticing with Netflix? Is this something that's starting to irritate the crap out of you, like it's starting to irritate the crap out of me? Is just make 8 episodes or 7, real quick, I got to go back to Battle Angel because ADHD. Marshala Ali. Marshala Ali is one of the best actors in Hollywood. Kind of wasted in Battle Angel. When he's in the scenes, he's good, but the way he's dressed, I'm going to share this with you. My kid was saying it. Melissa was saying it. I'm sure everybody else who sees him like this, there is your next Blade right there. It's Marvel. Back up the Brinks truck. For one, I really want them to bring in the supernatural into Marvel. That's my favorite aspect of it. Ghost Rider, Brother Voodoo, Werewolf by Night, Satana, all that good stuff. Love it, love it, love it. And Ghost Rider, of course. But look at that on the right there. That's Blade, dude. Back up the truck, give him all the money, and you might have a Blade movie that deserves an Academy Award because you'll have an Academy Award caliber actor playing. And like, honestly, I still say Wesley Snipes could play the role. Blade is one of my favorite Marvel movies. Okay. And I'll put it this way. Blade got really disrespected when Black Panther came out because everybody thought Black Panther was the first movie with black people in it and first superhero movie with black people in it, and disrespected Wesley Snipes' impact. I can make an argument right now that if Blade isn't a success, there is no MCU. It all started with that. That was, ground zero. And if you're going to replace Wesley Snipes, which I'm against because I still think he could play the role, there's your Blade right there. Sign him up right now. And make Blade part of the MCU. And then you can bring in, like fringe supernatural characters like Moon Knight. And it'd be just so much fun. And that way you can keep it going. You know what? You want to center your Marvel universe around somebody there, right there. Not Brie. Okay. Umbrella Academy. I like Gerard Way's writing of comics more than I like his music. I really hate the Black Parade, but it's not for reasons you think. My oldest son got into it, and that's all he wanted to play over and over again. And my sons, they're my sons, so they do stuff. It's weird when you get older and you see your kids do stuff you used to do, or I used to do, from a different perspective. You're like, oh, I really was a weird kid. Okay. And yeah, it's funny. So I used to do that. I would get hooked on a song and I just play it over and over again. My sister would come in and scream and try to take my records away, and we'd start throwing down, and my sister was bigger than me at the time, so she kind of kicked my ass. But, my sister was mean as a junkyard dog. I gotta be honest with you. All right. So my favorite thing about Umbrella Academy, of course, is the drug addict, Claudius. He is so Klaus. I was reading two different things here. Klaus, played by Robert Sheehan, is masterful. Effing masterful. It is so goddamn funny. So how it's very good. So if you have Netflix, so far so good. I don't want to give a full seal of approval and stamp of approval on this before I finish it, but so far so good. What do you guys think out there who finished it? Kind of try to keep it spoiler free as you can, but I think the person who's shown through the most is Robert Sheehan. He's been great. It's been hilarious, I tell you. Yeah, it's pretty damn good. So it is the story, if you're not familiar with it, it is written by the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, who used to be an intern at Marvel. And he wrote a story of basically, it's like Harry Potter and the X-Men. Oh, this is before Harry Potter. I've heard the relation. It's like the X-Men meet the Royal Tenenbaums a little bit, like in the music and tone a little bit. Yeah, I would say it's a little more linear than anything by Wes Anderson, but yes, it's like Marvel Comics meets Wes Anderson. And it follows the story of the Apocalypse Suite, and you have a super team in the show. It's 9 babies. It's there was an immaculate conception with 9 women. Now in the comic, it's 43. And this billionaire, it starts out with like these women who, started the day not pregnant, ended up by the end of the day having babies. And then this billionaire flies around and buys them all, but doesn't get most of them. And then he builds a super team because most of them have abilities. He ends up getting 7 of the 9, and out of the 7, 6 have abilities that we know of so far. And he builds a super team. And of course, he's a bad father. They were all experiment. He built them a robot mother and didn't really pay attention to him. So they all have daddy issues, major daddy issues, and they're brought together by the death of their father. At first, it looks like he just had heart failure, and then it looks like it might be something a little more serious. One of the kids, when they got older, yeah. So it's your tip. It's like, like The Big Chill, Wes Anderson, X-Men, Harry Potter, with a Legion style to it. And the reason I'm like, God, I recognize that name. I don't know why I recognize the name Scott. I thought it was, why am I seeing Jeremy Slater? I kept on seeing Scott Blackman as it's related to that. There it is. Steve Blackman. Sorry, Steve Blackman. And Steve Blackman. Okay, so the reason we like Steve Blackman and we want Steve Blackman to write more superhero, anything, franchises, anything. Here's what Steve Blackman has written. Well, The Umbrella Academy, Altered Carbon, Fargo, Legion. And before that, oh my Lord, Hidden Palms, Bones, Wild Card. He was just a supervising producer. So let's just go back off his last 3 series before Umbrella Academy were Legion, Fargo, and Altered Carbon. Yeah, sign this dude up for everything because it's good. So well done. A little drawn out, though. I'll say that. A little drawn out. Is Damien? Yeah. And honestly, I haven't finished it. I could change my mind. I've done it before. I've gotten drawn into stuff and it just ends like crap. And Damien Raw, I will say right now, the bad father trope is one that you are not going to win me over fast on. It better be well played. Now they're going off the source material, which came out, a decade ago. All right. So it was a little different then. That's why it's tough, Deadly Class is a very interesting thing. I think it's very of its time, and they almost came out with that too late. I think that was something that probably would have played better in 2015 because things are a lot different than they were 3 years ago, aren't they? Because the clapback has started, and we're a part of it here, and I feel like things are turning around. My next video is a little bit about that. It's going to be I was going to do an Orville breakdown, but instead of my Orville breakdown, I'm doing an Orville centered video. It will be out later tonight. And then there's 2 Doctor Who videos. There's lots of videos coming out this week. 12:45, 1:45. Okay. So we got those reviews in. Squids McCracken, what's up? Mary Ashmead, how you doing? I am reading a book from Richard K. Morgan right now. He wrote Altered Carbon. Yeah, you know what? I could not get into his Altered Carbon book. Blade doesn't fit in the narrative because it has a black character and and secondary characters, and the movie doesn't even mention it. Their skin color is irrelevant, and the movie is awesome. Emmett Fitzhume, exactly. What happened to that? I thought that that's progress, right? That's what I've been told my entire life, what we were trying to achieve. I'm not saying we're there. I'm not saying we're ever going to get there, but it's supposed to be irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. And you know what? I'll give Umbrella Academy. It's diversifying characters. The team was diverse anyway, but it's irrelevant in the show, which is nice. It's irrelevant in The Expanse because this is just how our world is presented. You know, I can tell you the day I turned on the CW. I can tell you the moment I turned on the CW. I was at Comic-Con and I went to the Supergirl screening. I was screaming afterwards. I was looking forward to it. I am a Supergirl fan. I bought Supergirl comics. I read Supergirl comics. I even liked that crappy Helen Slater movie. So I was like, cool, Supergirl, which means we might get Superman, but whatever, Supergirl, that's great. So I watched this whole CW thing, and they spent their whole panel talking about how diverse they were. That's it. They weren't even talking about the show. Greg Berlanti made like, what did he say? He's like, he interrupts somebody and goes, by the way, Mr. Terrific's going to be gay. And there wasn't like rounds of applause or anything. People went, woo. You want to know why? Because there's nothing. I'm sorry. Like being gay is like fully accepted now in a TV show. It's not the 90s. It's not like, you know, Willow's lesbian kiss in Buffy. It's not. Oh, wait, I got to get to that. Yes, I got to get to that. I know I promised the Doctor Who thing. Let's do that. Been yakking this whole time. And I'll get to super chats. Give me just a second. Doctor Who. I don't know if I'll ever. I'm trying to keep these down to 2 hours, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. Here we go. Here we go. And then I'll get to those super chats. I haven't forgot you. All right. Oh my God, everybody. Doctor Who's Mandeep Gill reveals how she feels about fans shipping Yaz and the Doctor. And this is not attack on Mandeep Gill or anything like that, or not attack. It's just, it must just have been natural chemistry between Jodie and myself. Ooh, okay. Really? Because I'm going to be honest with you. I forget Yaz is in the show completely. Forget Yaz and Ryan. How about Yaz and the Doctor? This is what's happened to our show. A number of Doctor Who fans have been shipping Mandeep Gill and Jodie Whittaker's characters to the point where even Gill herself has heard about it. Yaz and the Doctor have been getting along really well as companions, and was even a moment where Yaz's mother in the episode Arachnids in the UK wondered if they were an item. I'm aware of the shipping now, but at the time I was filming, it was never a thing, Gill told Metro. It must have been a natural chemistry between Jodie and myself. After it came out, I was like, wow, I didn't even think of that. That was a thing. I didn't think was a thing. I didn't think that was a thing until I saw people mentioning it online. It's still not a thing. Okay. And I want to see what their sources are for this. We're going to dig that up. I think it is just a neutral thing that can happen between friends, or who knows where they're going to go. In the same interview, Gill praised showrunner Chris Chibnall and the writers for the success of Series 11. So successful, by the way. The stories resonate through the characters. They're very relatable to modern society. And I think that's something we need to thank Chris Chibnall and the writing team for. They're able to write something that can relate to so many people while having sci-fi in it. Really? Okay. We have a big difference of opinion on that one. The show will return, unfortunately, for Series 12 in 2020, with both Gill and Whittaker back to reprise their characters alongside Tosin Cole and Ryan and Bradley Walsh. And oh my God, we can ship there. So let's go see if they cite where they got this from. I hope this isn't porn. No, they cite themselves. Okay. Here, I'll just try to dig it up. Give me just a second. Doctor Who shipping. Yes. Let's see. Nope. Oh God, I don't think I can do this, guys. I can't go into Reddit to the shipping thing. That might actually, I might die on a live stream, and I don't want that to happen. Here's something. Talk amongst yourselves for a second here. If anybody finds it, link it or DM me. I'm on Twitter right now. Do you ship Ryan and Yaz or the Doctor and Yaz? So it's the Doctor Who page that has 5,200 followers. That's pretty good. A Doctor Who page official who is putting that out there. Oh, shoot. I just lost the tweet. I was going to see how many people actually it's got here. I'll share it with you guys. It's got 90 likes. Yeah. Ryasman. Oh my God. And well, how would they ship the Doctor and Yaz? The Yazter? This is why entertainment's ruined, people. I like this shipping thing is stupid. It again with Tormund and Brian, it was kind of funny. But beyond that, no, it's not. And everything is sexualized, and you can't have just friendships. And the funny thing is, it's sexualized between the shipping, but you can't actually have any sex in the actual show because then they have a problem with it. It's trying to get your head around some of this SJW logic, which really fucking hurts mine. So it's Jesus. Yeah. So that might be a video all on its own. I might have to do a video all on its own right there. There you got a preview. God damn it. I'm sorry. I should have given you a cringe warning beforehand. My apologies. Oh my God. All right. Where did I leave off on the super chats here? Oh. Silhouetted Animator, $2. Gotham is the only good prequel. I don't look at Gotham as a prequel. I look at it as like an Elseworlds, and it is very good. It's a silly good show. It's not one I take seriously, but it's good. John Smith, $1.99. Have you read the Umbrella Academy comics? I have. Many years ago, 12, 13 years ago, me and Mrs. Nerdrotic have both read them. I used to own a comic store, John Smith, and I had a comic store when they came out. And I'm also, at the time, I was a Dark Horse fan. I would have bought anything the Dark Horse put out back then because that was a good era for Dark Horse. Thank you, John Smith, for the $1.99. Rory McGee for £5. I would love to see an episode of STD Crew catching the virus, reviving dormant genes from ancestral species with no happy ending. Yes. Oh my God. The most refreshing thing about you, Umbrella Academy, was no politics. John Smith, $1.99. Yep. The most refreshing thing about Alita Battle Angel, no politics. There was only, there was one line in Umbrella Academy, and it was funny. I'm trying to think. Doom Patrol, none whatsoever, 0. So maybe the tide is turning. Oh my God, can we? Maybe the message has gotten through, and sometimes it just takes a couple years for things to cycle through in Hollywood. Oh my God, I'd be so happy to report that like shit's getting back to normal again. And back to normal does not mean politically free 100%. It just means we're going to focus on storytelling. Astaroth, $5. Hail. Think Blade is ignored by Hollywood because it doesn't fit their narrative? Yes. It has competent women and doesn't become the love interest. Yep. Mega Jetty won $2. CBS needs to get Nicholas Meyer to do the new Trek. Well, they had him in the building. There's a Midnight's Edge interview that I will link in the description when this becomes a video that kind of explains what happens, Mega Jetty 1. Yeah, they had him in the building doing a con series, and then they ghosted him and got rid of him. Nefarious Fool, $10. Spawn was a black superhero in 1999. That was a strong, good black actor. Yes, the movie was niche, but it was McFarlane, and it was awesome. And long before Blade. Nefarious Fool, I love the Spawn comic. I am a huge McFarlane fan. That was a terrible movie, but it had a great soundtrack. It had a great soundtrack. And yes, that was before Blade. It wasn't long before Blade, though. It was 3 years before Blade. Or was Blade was 97? 99. Maybe it was 5 years before Blade. I lose track of time. When did Blade come out? I thought it was 96, right? So yeah, it was only a couple years after. Lord Lovecraft, $2. Graham X, a competent director, is OTP. Graham X. Let's see here. Graham. I don't see it. I do not know what you speak of. Elaborate in the chat, please, Lord Lovecraft. I could be just completely missing something, which I do all the time. Adam W, $2. Can you explain the the etymology of shipping? Yes. Okay. So shipping it was a thing. I don't know where it started, but it's a very Tumblr thing. And it's basically wanting two characters to hook up on your show. So, for example, Tormund and Brienne from Game of Thrones. Tormund was attracted by Brienne, so the audience really was rooting for those two to get it on. So it's basically fans rooting for two characters to get it on. They are shipping. And they're the famous one in the MCU is Cap and Bucky. Because and it's also a way it's also a way to kind of ruin stuff. And I think a lot of people do it. I think it's a very troll thing to do as well. I think it's a certain type of trolling, shipping. Some of it is for sure. To undercut and devalue something. Specifically, I shipped the character Graham with got you. Thank you, Lord Lovecraft. I shipped the character Graham with a competent director. Yes, I agree. I shipped that too. I ship the Doctor with some new good creators. I shipped that one hard. The Meteor Man was 1993 and a black hero. Yep. And even a Marvel comic. So first black Marvel superhero in film. Well, was it an adaptation though? Because I don't think that counts, Armchair Fray, but it might. It might. That's a good point. There's also Blank Man. I don't know when that came out. Shipping belongs in fan fiction. Robin Pittenger agreed. It is a fan fiction thing. If you want characters to hook up, write about it, but keep it out of the real fiction. But the thing is, Hollywood's so dumb that they think fan fiction type of storytelling is what fans want. And the thing is, I don't think they look at the right social media places sometimes. And I don't think you should look at any, to be honest with you. I think Twitter and Tumblr are the two worst places to go to follow trends. Just look at the growth on both of those networks and look at why people used to go to Tumblr. Do a little digging. The Spawn cartoon was in 97, and the Godfather, that was a good cartoon. Oh my God. That was good. I loved it. Blank Man was in 94. There you go. Yeah, I'd count Meteor Man. Why not? Why the hell not? You know what? I didn't see it though. I did not see Meteor Man. I saw Blank Man. I love Blade. It's one of my favorites. Shipping killed moonlighting and just about killed the X-Files. Fred, legit, yes. Or Laggett, I don't know. I'm going to say legit. Bad Wolf, that's right. I like that one. I mean, also because it taught the Doctor a lesson that you can't really do that. He's too old. Way too old. Al Bundy. Marvel won't acknowledge Blade. Nope, they won't. No, they're not going to acknowledge anything that was outside of the MCU. Mantis, I've seen Mantis. And Meteor Man was 1993. Okay. Hancock, oh yeah. The original script was, you guys look into the original script for Hancock. I believe the title was He Comes at Night, and find out what it was really about. I won't even tell you here. Find out for yourself what it was. One of the hottest scripts in Hollywood. And I know somebody who might be related to the person who wrote it, the original script, and it was twisted. And the original was He Comes at Night. Okay. Oh, a lot of people enjoyed Mantis. God. I want to say Raimi was involved. Somebody was involved with that. The Mantis series. Who was involved with that? Yep, Sam Raimi was involved. And Sam Hamm. Haha. Is it wrong to ship Discovery for cancellation? No. People have tried to, I don't know, throw shade at me going, you are rooting for Discovery to fail. Yep. Why? Beyond it's just a bad TV show, I wouldn't be rooting for it. Agenda-driven bad TV show. Yep. I'm rooting for it to fail, especially when it's the companies that have done this splitting up a fandom. It's not YouTubers. Okay. And yeah, so sure. Hancock was another Akiva Goldsman production. Was it, Joseph? I did not know that. Well, Hancock had a funny first 10 minutes and then it sucked after that. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap this one up. I'm going to get to a couple more super chats and I'm going to wrap it up because I have videos to make and stuff to do. And I will be back again on Wednesday. So yeah, but we got a couple more super chats here. Adam W. All right. Gawker's Death Rattle, $2 Canadian. Brienne. It's pronounced Brienne. I'm in a live stream mode. Yes, I know it's pronounced Brienne. Brienne of Tarth. Did I say Brienne or Brienne? It's Brienne of Tarth. Yes, I am aware. But I also have a niece called Brienne, so I mix them up. Astaroth. It is wrong to ship for Discovery and cancellation. No, again, it is not. Brienne of Tarth. A Vulcan goodbye. I'll give a Vulcan goodbye. That's right. Hancock could have been great. Read the original script. Okay. He Comes at Night, and then report back to me Wednesday and tell me what you think. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Remember to go to nerdrotic.com for the live stream schedule. My next live stream will be Wednesday at about 11-ish. We have an Orville video coming out, Doctor Who, a couple Doctor Who videos coming out, and who knows what happens. Hopefully, if I get through Umbrella Academy, I will get that, and it's like it rocks. I'll do a video on that within the next 48 hours, but so far I like it. Thank you for all the super chats. Let's quickly thank them. Thank you to all the patrons, of course. And a long list here. Thank you so much. And thank you to all new subscribers and the congratulations on 40K. I really appreciate it. I could not have done. You are part of this show. You are the most important part of this show. And I have the most fun talking to you guys. So thank you so much. And yeah, I get stuff wrong all the time. I mispronounce stuff all the time, and please continue to bring it to me. I love it. Jeff Taylor, thank you so much. Doxum Might, Elliot Nelson, Nicholas Glenn, Jolton Burrow, Jorian Drake from Hungary, Lee Heron, the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Thundercats Ho, Tyler X2F01, Keely Ann, Derek Raju, Dave Moore, the Anti-Trekker. Go subscribe to the Anti-Trekker. Great channel. Tamarox, Amy Johnson, Gawker's Death Rattle, Joel Burrow, a.k.a. Blonded, Thomas Potts, Keely Ann, Jellyfish Sandwich, Jason Green, Silhouetted Animator, Masquerade, I don't know, Lee Heron, Andrew Titchener, Silhouetted Animator, John Smith, Rory McGee, John Smith, Astaroth, Mega Jetty 1, Nefarious Fool, I can talk, Nefarious Fool, Lord Lovecraft, Adam W., Gawker's Death Rattle, Astaroth, and Nicholas Horton at the last minute, 2 pounds. How will the MCU handle the X-Men? I'm worried on that one. I'll be honest with you, I'm worried. I think the X-Men are very, I think they're going to go YA with them. That's what I worry. I don't want that. I want them to be treated as superheroes. I don't want to see a young, kind of beta Wolverine. I want to see, I want to see the X-Men. I think they're going to feel like they need to differentiate and start from scratch again. I'm worried. Listen, I can be worried and still trust Kevin Feige. And until Kevin Feige completely screws up, he's got my trust. So we'll see. It's interesting how it'll be interesting to see how they bring him in. I'm very curious and it's going to be a while. But I tell you what, I'm looking way more forward to the Fantastic Four. Give me the Fantastic Four. So Jodie Whittaker, ta-ta to you. See you in my next video. Doors and Corners, everybody. Take care. Philip A. Demick, Squids McCracken, Rolocrat, Gawker's Death Rattle. Please no emo Vereen. Right. Please. Oh my God. Amen. Ermit Fitzhume, Thrasher, Knuckle V, DJ Bowman, Jodie Whittaker, Will Gentry, my wrenches, Mary Ashmead, Chris Persia, Mr. Twisted 72. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Everybody, have a great day. May the small folks sing songs of your greatness.